Good evening, welcome everybody. My name is Elisa Scarpa, I'm the topic leader of the Topic Energy and Utilities. And I'm very happy to be here this evening with our faculty representative Matteo Di Castelnuovo, with Teresa Guzzo, with a team member of this topic, and with our distinguished speaker Mauro Piasere and Miguel Vasquez. Before starting and leaving the floor to Teresa, who has organized this event, this webinar this evening, and then to our speakers with the roundtable with Professor Di Castelnuovo, I just want to say a few words concerning our topic, and in particular concerning our community. Matteo, if you can go to the next slide, just to give the flavor of our network, which is very wide. And we have so many global chapters, 69, and 12 topic groups, and more than 200 leaders, and everybody is a volunteer. Because the most important thing of this community is the fact that everybody is giving back. Matteo, if you can turn the slide, we just see on our value proposition that, as I was saying, there is a part of giving, and I will stand on this with few words, but the other main value are the lifelong learning, obviously. That is also the aim of this evening webinar. The networking, which is not easy, particularly easy at this point in time with the pandemic, but we are used to host the event at Bocconi University and to try to create network. At the same time, also during this special moment, we are always open to help. So if you are particularly interested in our sector, in commodities, in energy, in utilities, you can write to me and I will share with the team members your question or your interest. And then there is also the value concerning career advice. I was saying that giving is particularly important for us, and we have created at this moment a fundraising, and I will ask Matteo to launch the video that can give you the idea of why it's so important to give back. In particular, I want to stress that all our webinars are free of charge, and so we would highly appreciate it if you can think about giving only €1. It's not important to give a lot, but it's very important to do it.
Giving at Bocconi University. Why does it matter? Why does gifting to an annual fund matter to Bocconi? Because it makes a concrete impact. Your gift to an annual fund is promptly available and allows the university to meet the most urgent needs. It can ease the cost of tuition fees, support research projects, or make our campus a great place to be. Your generosity can give everyone an equal opportunity now and make the world a better place, 1 degree at a time. No matter the size of your gift, you can make a difference. Thank you for making the Bocconi experience possible. Learn more at giving.unibocconi.it. Bocconi Alumni, together for a new idea of the future.
Okay, thank you, Matteo. Andrea, who is also assisting me and us with registration and with many issues, is now putting the link in the chat where you can donate also during the webinar or also after. So I want to say thank to our speaker and to Teresa again for organizing the webinar, and I leave her the opportunity to give you to explain the reason and the motivation for this evening webinar, and also why she decided to dedicate her time and giving back to the topic energy and utilities. Before moving to Teresa, I just want to say that this webinar is organized jointly with the topical digital innovation and with the topic sustainability. And in fact, the topic of this evening is particular important and joined by many topics inside the community. Thank you, Teresa. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Elisa. Good evening to everybody. I'm very glad to have the opportunity to organize this webinar on a subject I really care about, the link between sustainability and innovation, using green technology to create value. Since a few years now, the energy market has been experienced a transition period, and in particular in the last year, I believe that the Go Green mandate has been accelerated. So the increased competition from newer and greener products, shifting the focus, on my opinion, on green technology direction, with a lot of opportunity of innovation, I believe. In summary, sustainability I see as a main activator of innovation today, and this is the main idea around which the webinar has been built. I don't want to now spend a lot of time. I hope to enjoy the event, and with pleasure I leave the floor to the Professor Matteo Di Castelnuovo, who kindly accepted to act as a moderator of this interview format webinar. Thank you all, and enjoy this event.
Thank you very much, Teresa. Thank you, Elisa, also for the introduction. Welcome, everybody. Good evening, assuming you're all on the same time zone. Good morning if you are somewhere else, connected from somewhere else. Very happy to be here. As my friends just said, I'm here as a faculty representative on behalf of our beloved university. At Bocconi, I'm the director of the Master in Energy and Sustainability Management, and at the business school in particular, I coordinate the activities related to energy research and energy teaching. And today, I'm particularly happy with the topic and the guest that Teresa, that this event that actually was designed by Teresa, because I think it's very much one of the topics, of the most hot topic in a way going on right now. And so the idea of obviously sustainable innovation. And we are particularly lucky because we have two persons that actually I'm sure will be able to give more than one insight into this fascinating topic. I will start with introducing Mr. Mauro Piasere, which is Digital Innovation Director, CEO of Excite Division Saipem. Mauro has over 20 years of experience in the oil and gas industry, shaping organization, nurturing competences, and delivering results with a sustainable long-term view. And he started his career back in '94 as project offshore engineer for a European marine contractor. Then he had several positions. In 2016, he became president and CEO of Saipem America. And in 2016, he managed the creation of a new division called Excite by Saipem for early engaging clients in engineering consultancy services. And he's currently Chief Operating Officer of this new Excite divisions and Digital Innovation Director. Next to Mauro, we have the pleasure to have Dr. Miguel Vasquez, who is the part-time professor at the European University Institute, where he is also chairing the energy innovation practice. He's also an acquaintance of the Bocconi Fluid Manager because he is a research affiliate within the energy group at Bocconi School of Management. Miguel has advised governments, regulatory authorities, utilities, industrial associations, multilateral institutions on gas and electricity industries in Europe, Latin America, US, and Asia, pretty much everywhere, I would say. And he's also actively involved in training executive and senior professionals and young researchers, as well as an accomplished academic. So welcome to Mauro, welcome to Miguel, and thank you for joining us today for this event for our community. Rules of engagement, sorry, forgot about that. So we aim to finish, correct me if I'm wrong, Teresa, Lisa, at 10 to 7, okay. I will be fierce and I'll stop the clock, and then to leave some time for Q&A, okay? If you have some questions, you can please also use the chat, and it will be also, we will address them at the end of the session, but we'll have the last 10 minutes dedicated to any questions you guys may have. Now, without further ado, let me start with Miguel. Miguel, thanks again, Miguel, for joining us. And by the way, Miguel is connected from overseas, okay? So, and
which is nicer than being connected from there.
I mean, it doesn't make it, exactly. In a way, it doesn't make much of a difference, but I mean, it's still, thanks God for the internet connection.
Thank you, Matteo. And Lisa.
Miguel, about the topic today. So I have to say, I've been working on sustainability, energy in particular, for so many years, but the fact, the combination of combining the two terms, sustainability and innovation, for me, which is paramount, it's something which is relatively recent, correct me if I'm wrong. And so putting the two things together and try to understand how these two things actually work with each other. So can I start with a very complex question and ask you to help us understand this? Why and how sustainability challenges could be considered as the key driver of innovation? Can they?
Yeah, what Teresa said. The introduction of Teresa was perfect. So in that sense, no, but I will try to add a bit my own reflections on that, because as you said, it's not particularly easy to combine. And basically the way I see this problem, or this challenge is trying to divide both terms and combine them. So let's begin with innovation. What's the basic meaning of innovation, and what changed in this context? No, innovation was seen as a key driver for development, for growth. So in that sense, there's from Schumpeter lots of economic theory related to this. Even the basic dynamics of capitalist systems, very closely related to competitiveness of countries, structural change, all these kind of let's say big words and important words that were basically related to innovation. So the basic idea I see in that is that you innovate because it's going to be good for companies, and in the end for consumers and countries. And just briefly, let's say, put in an idea that can give or can bridge a bit the two concepts. Normally, when we spoke about innovation in the past, was basically related to this idea of selection by markets. The innovations, the problem we have is that we don't know what they mean until they already innovated. So a big question is that normally we will need to propose several solutions, and some of them will not work. And we had in the past a very basic selection mechanism, which was the market tests and market in a broad sense. What we're adding, in my view, and for me, the enter door for sustainability in this concept is that we're being a bit more specific in the way we select innovations. We're not just trusting markets in a broad sense or in whatever way, but we're trying to choose innovations that are helping sustainable development. It's not just development, it's not innovation helping development, it's innovation helping sustainable development. Of course, we have all this other work from defining sustainable development, the United Nations, everywhere, everyone is doing it, trying to include that in the way firms behave. I'm sure Mauro is going to comment on this, but just to mention that Matteo is the director of a master that is basically devoted to understand this, how sustainability is included in firms and so on. But my point is that innovation as a driver for development is now seen a bit more like innovation as a driver for sustainable development.
Okay, thank you, Miguel. That's really interesting. Set the ground in that respect. Now, if I can move my attention now to Mauro. Mauro, thank you again for joining us today. About what actually Miguel has just said. I received the sort of a letter from a bank because my little savings made some investments, okay, and this financial institution, which I will not mention, Mauro, is just letting me know there has been some changes, because actually the fund we used to be called European Smaller Companies Fund, now will be called Sustainable European Smaller Companies Fund. And the fund which was called Asia Focus Fund will now be called Sustainable Asia Equity Fund. So is this a sustainable innovation? I'm asking you, or actually, so I'm obviously wanted to make a joke, but actually kind of, I found it amusing, this letter. But I mean, green and innovation inside them, no? So what do these, which are, as also Teresa mentioned at the beginning, these words very much in demand these days, no? And sometimes abused. What these words mean to you and to Saipem in particular?
Well, thanks, Matteo, and good evening to everyone. Well, I very much like the introduction of Miguel, because the concept that the market is somehow selecting and that the variable that the market is looking for selection among various things is the way this innovation makes the business sustainable. It's very appealing to me, and is stimulating. There are markets, probably the bank you're referring to, they are much more ahead of an old giant industry like the energy industry. Okay, so indeed you're probably receiving something that my client are just starting to think about now. Okay, but still it has been there for quite a while. I think the industry today that we try to shape is coming from the idea that, well, the world needs a lot of energy. I mean, energy in a broad sense, energy in the sense of electricity, power, but also in the sense of product from energy. And this demand was the driver for all the innovation. Okay, today even this demand is changing. Now, what I found very challenging is that the world is now asking us to deliver less in energy intensity. Means that we still need to deliver more, but with a lot more efficient way we deliver, which means that, and then I'm coming to what we're doing today. I mean, in a practical sense, I mean, Saipem is a solution provider. We engineer plant, we engineer facilities that eventually use in one way or the other energy, either to work or to deliver a product. And in this, with this demand that the market is saying, they're saying, Saipem, you must innovate, but it's not enough that you give us more product or better product. We want you to deliver better product without impacting on the environment like you used to do so far. Not us, I mean, but the industry has done so far. So this has brought us to analyzing the problem. We are engineers. I mean, mostly of it. I'm sorry about nobody's perfect, but we are mostly engineers, and so we tackled this problem from an engineering perspective. So we said, okay, what we normally design, we design based on specification, performances. What if we make among the performances that the client may ask us, which could be barrel per day or tons of fertilizer produced per annum, what if we start adding parameters that are instead focused on sustainability? Why we don't target performance like produce 1 ton of fertilizer with less energy, so making this process more energy efficient? Why we don't design the plant to have less carbon emission? Or why we don't use renewable energies to complement the production of energy? So we call this approach design for low carbon. And we actually make it a service that we now propose to our client when, during the first selection of a project, when they start designing or deciding what are the key variables they have to consider. So there are various choices to be made. We give them tools that, beside productivity, beside use of feedstock, there are also these variables that allow them to make a more conscious choices of their product. And this type of innovation, it's then going to bring them the capability to deliver something that the market will probably select. And that's why I like very much Miguel opening, because it's an innovation that brings you sustainability. Another short example, and I promise I keep it short, is for instance, the life cycle assessment. It's another tool to say, well, instead of looking from my little gate-to-gate type of approach, you give me feedstock, I'll process it, and then I'll deliver you an output, we approach this, say, well, no, let's go to cradle. Let's see how you're taking the original resources that are your feedstock, okay? See whether we can do something there to design something to improve this first part. Then, of course, the central part is our own turf. I mean, it's our bread and butter. But then don't stop at the gate. Let's go to the grave. Let's take the way this product will be handled to the future. Now, again, by offering this type of end-to-end approach, much more extended, we believe that we can bring solutions to our client that are a lot more sustainable. And the innovation that you can introduce in the cradle to gate or in the gate to grave, they could actually be extremely beneficial because they are sustainable. And the market will select this type of solution, and eventually a player like Saipem. So I'm always a bit in a commercial mode. You have to accept me for that, but that will allow us to sell better product. And I quoted a couple of examples just to try to give a sense of practicality. I mean, this is not a philosophy approach. These are actually tools that we develop with certain metrics, with certain programming capabilities, data analysis, which can be shown to client and actually deliver results.
Okay. Thank you, Mauro. Very enlightening. And about this, Miguel, from what we heard from Mauro, it's like there's sort of one way there's this growing demand for more sustainability from consumers, and so Saipem is responding. So there is this idea, but also how Saipem is responding. So in order to make the industry greener. So I'm asking you if you could help us understand what do you think are the main pillars for creating a green energy industry?
You only make me easy questions. Huh?
Yeah.
No, it's nice because probably many of the of the pillars that are needed are already mentioned by Mauro. Let's begin with this last idea he was putting forward about a more complex analysis of infrastructure, of assets, no? And I would say that we can going back or to let's say to put everything together, going back to this idea of selection and so on, is exactly what Mauro said in the beginning. Is consumers are more complicated now, let's say,
Yeah.
and it's not just because they have more dimensions, which is true. It's not just cost and quality. Now we have sustainability. The problem is that, and for me, it's very clear from what Mauro was saying, is that it's not very easy to show sustainability, to define sustainability, and also, in fact, you can see many different initiatives trying to somehow standardize this idea of sustainability. Trying to exactly what Mauro was saying, that they're using tools because they know the business in more detail, to show or to trying to help people understand how sustainable is the product they're buying. So in that sense, for me, it's clear that one thing that is changed a lot is selection. But if we go back to this idea of innovation as a system and so on, we might identify, let's say, three pillars. And being a bit, let's say, abstract here, just to compensate for Mauro's very specificity. But the idea is that we have a system of innovation the same way we had a system of innovation before. So it's true that selection changes, but we also need two more dimensions, at least, I think. And I'm saying two because, I mean, you know that you need three pillars always for everything. What I would say is that going backwards from the selection of an innovation, you need a dimension, you need mechanisms that allow scaling up whatever innovation you identify as important. And here it's very fun, your example of your investment and the sustainability funds and so on, because financing is very important to scale up projects and to be part of the allowing consumers to choose what they need. But it's also very difficult for financiers to identify sustainability. And you can see that is this eternal quest now of creating infrastructure asset classes. Now what you see is that they're trying to create green infrastructure asset classes. And this is part of the same idea Mauro was saying, that I want to scale up the innovation that is going to serve what the market is selecting. And finally, the third pillar is mechanisms to create variety. So the innovation, basically, you don't know what you're trying to do exactly. Of course, engineers are always designing stuff, but they also make mistakes. I'm an engineer too, I have to say. It's, everyone is perfect. But the question is that you need the tools to create variety in the system, to create enough innovation so that you can, let's say, understand the possible trajectories for technology and the rest of dimensions, and to choose correctly. And in that sense, here not only because everyone is talking about financing startups and so on, venture capital and the like, but I want to highlight here the importance of institutions and the rest of let's say, for me, it's very important, and it's been documented in the literature, what we're doing here, the collaboration between industry and university, for example.
I couldn't agree more, especially with the last point, of course, obviously allow us to leave our ivory tower and see what is actually working for real. Now, Mauro, Miguel was mentioning the fact that technologies, the selection by the market, but about these technologies which are sort of have to fulfill the needs of these changing consumers. And so I'm wondering, so adopting technologies has to be, always has to be, has been a high priority for energy companies. So, but there are different types of technologies, right? Especially now with innovation. So how to develop disruptive technologies while at the same time maintaining evolutionary technologies innovation? How do you combine these two things?
Yeah, Matteo, it's true that managing innovation, it's a complex mechanism, almost as showing sustainability. Actually, I think that if I just can allow 30 seconds on what Miguel was saying, showing sustainability actually ain't that difficult, because there are a lot of people with a lot of passion that can really, if they're given the chance, they could actually show how it can be done. Now, doing sustainability is a lot more complicated, because actually it comes with a cost. We can't really pretend saying that, oh, well, yeah, I can do sustainability. I can give and design a project, a more sustainable project, and by the way, it's going to cost you less. Okay, that would be a lie, because to do better, it always requires a lot more effort. Then it's the duty of the engineers, and not only the engineers, but the economists as well, to make sure that the solution then can be scaled up to become competitive and economically viable. Okay, so the ultimate goal is the sustainability, is also the economic results. But when you start, there is always an impact. So just to answer a bit more your question, how to deal with this innovation. In Saipem, we have adopted a twofold approach. Okay, so one end we have an innovation that is very close to the business, which innovate step by step, and it goes to scale immediately, just because it is so embedded in the business and is so linked to the business itself that becomes immediately viral. Okay, it is like you have decided to, you just bought a new things for you and you've been nurturing that for a while, you use it immediately. Okay, so that's one end. We keep this type of innovation very close to the business. However, from this, and because we are engineers, we move little by little on very certain ground. You can't really make a disruptive approach. So we have introduced what we call our Fabbrica dell'Innovazione, our innovation incubator, which is a set of people still coming from our own colleagues and ranks that are just, the only common point is the passion for bringing innovation to go into uncharted territories. Okay, so these people get together, they're given topics from the management, which are the one we were discussing. I mean, give me idea on how to use, I don't know, distributed ledgers or cryptocurrencies value part. I mean, that's type. So how to use that? And people start thinking, oh, well, if I use distributed ledger, I could do smart contracts. And then they start working, and this could become real disruptive. But then because you have taken it away from the business, then you have the problem that Miguel was saying, how you get this at scale, because you've done a nice POC, a nice proof of concept, everything is hunky-dory, oh, it's beautiful, but then you have to invest, you have to really put some effort in changing the mind of many people that instead of doing what you've just conceived, have been doing something else for maybe 20 years, like me, okay? So then that's where the fact that you have to, contaminate, you have to infiltrate. We use the word infiltration. We start to infiltrate the traditional business with the people that have developed this disruptive ideas, and slowly by showing them the value that the disruptive idea brings, then we go to scale. So This is the way we approach innovation, and people keep moving. So people that are in the Fabbrica dell'Innovazione, then they go back to the real life, but they bring back this approach. So we start, contaminating more people. And the topics that can be done in Fabbrica, they really can go to complete different approach. I mean, there is one I like because I'm a game player on PC, so I know NVIDIA has done fantastic things. So we said, well, why we don't use game technologies to say, for instance, introduce a new way of visualization of our projects? I mean, why we don't show our client his future project through a visualization technique that is a lot more immersive? So I quoted the blockchain because we're not working with cryptocurrency, but the distributed ledgers, it's a topic that we have given to Fabbrica to say, well, why don't you use that technology that is coming from a completely different industry in our sector? Why don't you use digital technology? Why you don't copy Amazon to do a smarter warehouse for our vessel and our plant? Why you don't use robotic? I mean, all these are topics that today we're given to Fabbrica to free think, coming up with proof of concept that are done together with in open innovation, with the market, with university, with startup, with whoever is actually willing to share some time. And that's very, very fascinating.
Thank you, Mauro. And about this, actually, I did have another question about how you are organized to create a supportive environment for innovation. I think it's pretty much what you just said, but allow me to, Mauro, ask you then another question. I'm thinking about my young students now that come to us and sort of they graduated, take our courses. So some of them are engineers, actually. So just to let you know, many of them actually. Then I was wondering, because of the topics you mentioned, Mauro, so mimicking Amazon or NVIDIA or the distributed ledgers, these are actually experiences which are obviously very familiar to all of us, especially the younger generation, right? And very appealing to them. So, and I can see that many of the young generation, they would like to work in sustainability, but also in innovation. So given your career, your experience in the business of innovation, what kind of suggestion would you feel to give to these young graduates, so starting right now their career, if they want to get into innovation and presumably combined with sustainability? What would your recommendation or suggestion would be?
So I think main point would I think it goes back to one consideration: the energy industry. It's not anymore that that old dirty type of industry. There is really a growing realization that if we want to be sustainable, we have to change approach. It's coming from many of the majors. I mean, and maybe the Americans are lagging behind, but the European major, they are really at the forefront of this innovation in their own business. So first of all, say approach this industry as a good industry, not as a bad one. But it's a good industry that needs to change a lot. So we need fresh minds. We need people that are really willing to impact, to resolve this combination of demand, because I'm pretty sure that all of your students are not willing to relinquish their mobile phones or all their gadgets because of the use of energy, okay? So we all know that, and many more younger generation in India, in Africa, they want to enjoy the same. So we do have an obligation to give fairness to everyone that is growing, is improving their position. So this is the mission that people entering this industry should have as a sort of crusade. Okay, it's a B2B business, but at the end of the day, the ultimate beneficiary of what we do is everyone. So we can really do a lot. If people comes in with the idea that the industry can change, bringing new ideas on data, how to use data, how to engineer better, how to better process, more efficient, I think there's plenty of opportunities for everyone to do their part.
Yeah. Thank you, Mauro. And also allow me to emphasize that how much I agree what you just said about obviously growing demand for energy. Thinking about also developing countries, this demand needs to be met, but it needs to be met to see this growing demand of energy in a sustainable manner. Okay. And just taking one example, it could be the demand for cooling, which is bound to explode in the coming years, for actually for
absolutely, yeah.
And so that would be a problem that needs to be solved, because demand needs to be met, but obviously it has to be sustainable.
Yeah, I think it's far too easy to say, oh, I don't want energy, but then pretending to have a cooling, have a car, have a telephone. It's a bit, we need to actually take commitment to resolve this.
Yeah, or you can just add the name sustainability in front of the name of a product. That could also be a solution.
Oh, yes.
Miguel, we have time for one more question, Miguel. Then we move to a Q&A, or question from the audience. How do you think that actually the sustainable innovation can sort of have an impact on the business model and value proposition? I suppose we saw some clues from Mauro's answer, but I was wondering, what is your take on this? How do you think sustainable innovation is impacting business model and value proposition?
What Mauro said.
Okay, easy.
No, but I'm very happy. I lived in Rio de Janeiro for several years, so I'm very happy that people are understanding the importance of cooling. But I mean, I think really, I think it's the impact in business models, in my view. It's very related with this idea that from Teresa in the very beginning, we're discussing here that innovation is not anymore innovation, it's sustainable innovation. So there's less demand, let's say, for let's say, if you say that you have a very good idea to make a cheaper coal-fired power plant, maybe you're not going to be so successful finding resources. But I think that in my view, Mauro put that in a very clearly way, which is that we're in the energy industry, we're taking into account consumers more and more. Innovations are driven more and more by consumer behavior, which is in a way something more related in the past to cooler industries, let's say in the Silicon Valley, things and mobile phones and so on. But it's not true anymore. Energy is not moving like it moved in the past. So innovation is more and more important. And it's innovation not only for firms in value proposition. I mean, this is because it's a huge part of my activity. There's value proposition for regulators. There's a value proposition problem for regulators in the sense that regulators need to understand what's happening and need to understand whether something is going wrong. If they're selecting stuff that they should not be selecting, and the other way around. And that's a very complex process in a way of communication, because you have, of course, let me put the problem or the challenge like this. I mean, you have a very high level discussion on digitalization, for example. We need to digitalize things. And we have a very concrete discussion on data management, what's the program, whether it's going to be blockchain or we do another thing. But there's a huge gap between the two conversations. It's very difficult to communicate both of them. And there's a part of the issue for the regulators, but it's a huge part on the business side. What Mauro was exactly saying is that the Fabrica he was mentioning. We need to test and understand and think about innovative solutions to see whether we're going to face challenges that are avoidable or not. So in that sense, if I have to summarize this in one sentence, is that energy is moving to a consumer-driven industry very quick.
Thank you, Miguel. And allow me to say it also, I agree, of course, with both you and Mauro with regards to the changing perspective towards the energy industry, which was not clearly known for being, or at least maybe was a stereotype, I don't know, very fast in terms of change, innovation, the speed of change. And right now, to me, this is one of the, broadly speaking, energy is one of the most dynamic industry in the world. I struggle to think about other sectors which are changing so rapidly, but the perception sometimes it was actually that was the case, no? And sometimes, so I think that there's an issue with talents, probably young talents don't actually perceive energy as a fast-growing and dynamic sector as it is, right? Particularly those who maybe do not have an engineering background, and so still think that energy is about really just combining the turbines and making the mechanics work, as opposed to all the issues that Mauro mentioned, no? Which is actually is very much innovation.
The electrics, Matteo. I'm an electrical engineer.
Exactly. Now, I'm cautious about the time. Why don't I would say, I would call myself Swiss, Elisa and Teresa, because it's 10 to 7, okay? I'm as accurate as the Swiss guy. And so, Teresa and Elisa, do we have questions and how do we go about that? Please help me.
So we have some questions in the chat that now is public, so you can read them. Otherwise, at the beginning, Andrea collected some questions that I can't read, but you should have them. So I suggest that you pick some question, 2 or 3 questions. Otherwise,
okay. Let me find. I will try to find the most difficult and controversial ones. Let me see. Okay, so Miguel, this is for you. Maybe green. So there are topic frameworks, and everybody gives a different meaning. Well, maybe we answer that. Sorry, I'm trying to. Which was more strange, and maybe this allow me. There are so many guys. So, oh yeah, maybe this one. Mauro, what do you think is the role of top managers and leaders to promote, by their vision, encourage innovation to be sustainable in these times, especially the disruptive ones? Don't you think that the lack of vision can make a leader missing opportunities?
Well, lack of vision always miss opportunities, that's for sure. And it's true that there are contingency events that can disrupt a bit the vision. I mean, I've seen this year, in particular, the attention to COVID somehow as prompt many companies, to really talk about the pandemic, talk about the health of the employee, which of course is paramount. But sometimes the risk is that a hot topic of the moment, like the pandemic, could really drag the attention from other aspects, which are maybe they are still longer in time or more distant in time, but which require steps today to be taken, like fixing an objective for everyone, for the company, for the managers. So there are I've seen a lot of companies today making announcement of objectives. Okay, although I disregard an objective that is made just for the sake of doing it, and just to say, well, I have to go net zero in 2040. well, I mean, it's a nice statement. It probably is a headline catching, but at the same time, can you show me that you are still going to be there in 2040, standing up to that target you're making? Because that's all obviously is key. So the question is very philosophical, but the short answer is you definitely need to remain visionary. The vision shall not be disrupted by tactical situation. It may require, different actions and different reaction. Otherwise, you'll be missing opportunities. So that's for sure.
Okay, thank you, Mauro. Miguel, there is a question is actually, start with you, Miguel. How to read the EU Green Deal investment plan? My question, I haven't read the Green Deal document, so just the key points. But my question to you maybe is, do you think that actually the EU environment is, how can I say this, not the right one to, and I hope I'm interpreting the question in particular, is the right one to actually trigger sustainable innovation?
Yeah, yes. Okay. I mean, this is a very, I wouldn't say difficult. It's very, it's large and also it's kind of controversial among economists. My feeling is that there was always this kind of fight in economics between public investment versus austerity and so on. And I was very surprised because the austerity people, the International Monetary Fund, published a document essentially saying we need a Green Deal. So if the IMF is saying that Keynesian policies and investment policies are needed, it's because really probably we're seeing a contraction of demand that needs some kind of, let's say, public policy. And that's more or less the same question or the same difficulty as in the sustainable innovation. I mean, okay, what I'm talking about is, let's say, a new deal, an investment plan, a Keynesian policy, Why the green in this? And I think it's, for me, very clear from what Mauro said and this idea of innovation and sustainability that, okay, sustainability is of concern. We need to do something about it. If we're trying to mobilize private financing with public measures, it's reasonable to say decarbonization, or let's say green stuff, is important. Then we need to look at what's the meaning of green in that sense, because it's not so easy. The last thing I saw from OECD was low carbon, climate resilient investment. Trying to add specificities on this kind of thing, I saw a question about that. But the main idea is that, yes, if there's an investment plan at the European level, the discussion must be there. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that, Miguel. I think, Teresa, Lisa, we have time maybe for just one question. And Mauro, if you don't mind, I will take opportunity of your patience. No, there is a question on Saipem not being a digital company. Okay, and the question is, what is digital innovation for Saipem? And can I maybe add, Mauro, what is digital innovation in Saipem, and if and how it is related to sustainability, digital innovation?
Well, I think it's yes, it's true. Saipem is not yet a digital company, and of course, it will never be a digital company in the sense that today we give to digital like media or that type of things. But we are going through a major digital transformation process today, which takes on about on three different say areas. The first one is to internal on our own processes. We have a lot of processes that are very common to any other industries that can be digitalized reasonably fast and adopting technologies and tools and methodologies that are already used by other industries. Say the CFO area, all the administration and finance. I mean, we could digitalize that pretty fast. But also going back to, say, our own work, engineering and procurement, there's a lot of digitalization that can be done reasonably easy to, have the engineering design fully digitally connected to the procurement phase. So that's internally. Then, of course, there is a portion of activity that is how we present ourselves to our client. So can we deliver digital services? Now, an example I was making earlier on, if you are providing to a client the possibility to play with a digital platform where they can get in, start setting the performances of the plant they have in their wishful list, and by playing with this, they can get some sort of early definition, early evaluation of performance parameter, cost, time. That's again a very nice digital tool that can help us. Then of course there are the aspects related to the longer term view, and that's where the sustainability comes from. In the sense, can we build something that can be very digital? And that's the most challenging one. For instance, I'll give you a practical example. We have developed and built a sort of we call it ROV. Is the equivalent of a drone that can actually live on the seabed for about 1 year. And it's like a Roomba. Everybody knows Roomba here. You get out of your little box, you just go there, sweep. Okay, that does the same, but it does it on probably 1,000-meter water depth. And instead of sweeping the seafloor, just goes and check the valves, do some regular maintenance, come back, recharge, and so on and so forth. So it's where, you build something that wasn't there before, and then you sell it, and that's it's pretty much digital. I can tell you that things without digital would have not been possible. So I try to be as fast as possible in the reply, and that would be the answer. We are pretty much becoming a digital enabled company.
Digital. Thank you. That was really clear, very enlightening. Thank you, Mauro. Now, I'm cautious about the time. I'm looking at Teresa and Elisa, and so I think we can roll this conversation to a close.
Matteo, I'm going to be very impolite. Just a super quick question for Mauro. Do you outside them do consultancy for other firms? Because I know people would be very happy to hear about those experiences. Let's say oil majors in Latin America, for example.
If you're saying, are we charging for this? No, but we are definitely open to share. I'm pretty much a believer that certain topics should really be discussed, like we're doing today, between the academic world, the industry, between peers, between different level in the industry. Because at the end of the day, if we want to be successful in innovation and in sustainable innovation, you can't be alone. It's past the time where you could actually design something which was a breakthrough. The last things was internet, and let's see what is next. But I don't think alone you can do a lot. So we are definitely trying to be very active with our client, always available to discuss and to share opinion. Because at the end of the day, I'm also very much in favor of what I think was said at the beginning. There is always a possibility to continuously learn, and these are all events that can be used for learning. And I'm really sorry, I could see a lot of questions coming through, and I'm a bit scared. A lot of them were for me. So I have no problem if someone wants to take this question offline and send them to me. I'll be more than happy to let people have their answers as much as I can, so that people will feel good having not having their answer today immediately, but at least later on.
Yes, we will do, Mauro. Thank you for your availability, and I mean has been really a sparkling discussion this evening, and the number of questions is the demonstration that people connected today are very interested in this topic. So I'm very sorry that we can't stay another hour all together, but the promise is that we can do another webinar during next month. I'm sure that Teresa will be happy. I particularly like the fact that you share that vision from university and from inside the company. And there has been so many takeaways. The webinar is registered, so we can also learn listening to it again, and will be available on our website in 10 days, around 10 days. And I'm also happy because, as Mauro was saying, we must be all committed. And so I'm happy that the topic can help with this crusade. And this is our last event for this year, but we have already planned a lot of new webinars for 2021. I hope that soon we can get back to Bocconi University, so we can share also some networking. Yes, finger crossed, Matteo. And thank you again, Mauro. Thank you again, Miguel.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everyone.
Matteo, and thank you, Andrea, for assisting us, and to all of you for listening to our webinar. And see you next time. Have a good evening.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.